Hi, welcome to the Full House Lymans. I wanted to share a story that has been going on for the last 2 years. A lot of people call it catfishing. If you don't know what that is, I'll put a link in the iCards above that gives you a full description and why it's called catfishing. I didn't know what catfishing was for a while. Even at the beginning of all of this, I had no idea what it was. However, I've learned over the last couple of years I know exactly what it is because we have experienced it. Not just me, but my entire family. Not just my son, but our entire family. I want to share the story of what our catfish story is. It all begins with knowing who our catfish is. I want you to meet Cammy Dubia. Cammy is a 17-year-old girl who lost her mother in a train accident that hit a town in Canada in 2013. She has a sister named Angie who was married young to a guy named Kevin, and they had twins just recently. Cammy was going to school to be a psychiatrist after being homeschooled. She had heart surgery and throat surgery. She has a severe mental issue as far as losing someone. She's been in counseling for a long time because of loss of her mother. She kickboxed. She did gymnastics. In fact, at 2014 summer gymnastics camp, her camera on her phone was ruined from girls bullying her. Because her mom died in a train accident, she was awarded insurance money along with money from the train accident. $9 million to be exact. Tammy Jakovich was a woman that was a friend of the family's who was assigned her financial guardianship. Because she claimed as she was 17 years old and losing her mother, her father went MIA after losing his wife, and therefore Tammy was the only family friend that could handle the financial situation for the young 17-year-old Cammy. John, her father, John Dubia, is an avid fisherman, but with her father, she travels back and forth from Canada to Alaska, Fairbanks actually. Cammy was homeschooled, like I said, because that's how she doesn't have very many friends. That's just a hint of who Cammy is, just the inside little itty bits. I could tell you that Cammy is she's a wonderful person. She pulls the positive out in people. Cammy was going, like I said, she was going to school to be a psychiatrist. And so when she learned a little bit about my son, Kurtis, and his history, it didn't scare her away at all. Now that you know Cammy, I want to tell you the story. And forgive me if I read this because like I said, I don't want to get too far off topic. I don't want to be bouncing around in my story. In November 2013, my son, Kurtis, who was 17 at the time, met a girl on a Meet Me app. He ended up getting into some trouble and was put into juvenile hall. So during this time, I want to pause right there for a second. He met her in November and had already had phone sex with this girl. There was already pictures that were exchanged at this point. And then when he got in trouble in January, February, that's when he went to juvenile hall. At that point, Cammy was still talking to my son Austin and was trying to convince my son Austin for me to talk to her. While he was gone, I was told about his girlfriend. I found Cammy Dubia on Facebook and saw that she had used a picture of Kurtis's half-naked body as her profile picture. She had been talking with my son Austin and wanted to talk with me. On the Facebook profile, I had actually gone on to her profile, researched her, left a message and basically said I didn't like her. I didn't understand why she was stalking my son while he was in the facility that he was in. She basically left posts on his Facebook daily. And in those Facebook messages, they were things like, I miss you, baby. I love you. I can't wait to see you. I can't wait till we're together. Daily, as he was gone. He wasn't reading any of this because he had no access to his Facebook. But we were seeing it. And it looked completely out of control, in my opinion. And so I basically confronted her. And while confronting her, she texted me back. I have every text on phone and Facebook through this entire 2-year process. I have not deleted one conversation. I'm not sure initially why I had decided to keep them all. However, I felt that it was a good idea, and so I did. So I will keep you from the boring conversation as far as those go. But in that, I grew to love this girl. I learned in those messages that she had lost her mom to a train wreck. And I think I'll go ahead and put the city right here below. If you guys want to research that, you can. I just felt a bond with this girl. I had lost my mom to cancer when I was 23. So instantly I felt like I had something in relation to her. She told me that they had talked about getting married. And kind of in my heart, I could see that possibly she could bring the positive out in Kurtis, and maybe she wasn't such a horrible thing. I formed a relationship with this girl. I learned that her mother had died, and instantly I felt an instant connection. We have formed a mother-daughter relationship while Kurtis was in the facility. When my son got out, April of 2014, and he had moved back to Idaho with us, she was in his life. They talked on the phone constantly. She would send him money, not just money, but it would be hundreds at a time. Later, I found out that phone sex had happened a lot. Pictures were sent back and forth. She couldn't manage to Skype or FaceTime because of the camera in her phone that she claimed had been ruined at gymnastics cheer camp. She claimed to have her Apple computer in storage. She was living in an RV with her father in Fairbanks, Alaska. But our family had seen red flags and holes in her story the entire time. Like the pictures with her mother, there was always just one girl with her mother. She claimed to have a sister named Angie, a brother-in-law named Kevin, who was pregnant with twins. They were. When I asked if she had pictures of her mom, because I had connected with her, I felt that I wanted to be able to see who her mother was. And she sent pictures of her and her mom, but there was only one girl sitting with her mom. I found that odd, that if she had a sister, why was her sister not in the pictures with her? And then it came to a fact that all her pictures, not one of them were with her sister. And so then we began asking questions. Why don't you have pictures with your sister? I thought you guys were close. If you were that close, you'd have pictures with her. She ended up cutting pictures and cutting and pasting and that kind of thing. She created pictures to make it look like they were together. They looked like the same person. I had researched the train wreck in Canada to learn that out of 47 plus victims, her mother's face didn't match any of them. She was always alone when she was talking to me or Kurtis, which seemed odd to never have background noise of any kind. He tried to move on when we had guessed that she wasn't real the summer of 2014. We figured out that she pretended to be 9 people. He started dating real people, Ashley being one of them. I had formed a relationship with Cammy enough that I kept talking to her. I felt that bond with her because she didn't have a mom. She was actually to the point where she was calling me mom on the phone. I had lied to my son about meeting her because I thought possibly she was really real and that there was just all those little red flags were real things that maybe they weren't really red flags. They were engaged. She had sent thousands of dollars to my son. She had sent my kids and my family gifts. She claimed at one point to be in Las Vegas, and she sent an entire package that if we were there to buy it, I know that it would have been well over $100. And then she went ahead and sent it as well. She sent Christmas gifts last year. Yeah, it was this last Christmas that she sent our family a box of Alaskan blueberry coffee cake. She made, I want to say, 10 or 12 loaves that she sent. And then it was a spice that comes specifically from Alaska. And if you go back in the vlogs, in fact, I will post that in the iCards above where you can see where we received that gift. My only daughter was so excited to meet her. She thought she had a sister. While Kurtis and Ashley had dated, Cammy had created a stalking situation that appeared to look as if Ashley were the one doing the stalking. Cammy claimed to have flown to see Kurtis multiple times when he wasn't around. She claimed to have looked at an apartment behind us. The day my son Bridger was baptized, she said she walked around our neighborhood. The summer of 2014, she claimed to be driving from Montreal, Canada to Idaho to finally meet us and our family to move forward with their engagement. Kurtis told her that he was dating Ashley, and Ashley had paid money to find out about the phone number that she was calling from. It was linked to Tammy Jakovich, who she claimed to be her financial guardian. She claimed to be home alone when she finally got to Idaho. She claimed that it was at nighttime and that she took medicine, and so she has no idea where she's at. Kurtis and his friends went looking for her, looking for the RV that would be parked outside of this home that she claimed that they were renting. She shared later that her dad went to turn in a U-Haul. At that moment in time, I had called every U-Haul around and asked for John Dubia. And I made up a story saying that I left, that I was his wife, that he left his phone in the truck, and we were trying to find it. And there was no John Dubia. Hole after hole in her story kept coming up. Not to mention the pictures that she sent Kurtis was the same pictures off Facebook, very pixelated. The letter she wrote him was completely sexual. He read it out loud. When I kept learning more holes, I decided to do my own homework. I'd actually asked for Ashley's help. At this point in time, we had moved to Utah, and Ashley was no longer dating Kurtis. Kurtis actually asked Ashley to marry him. I know, this boy gets around. Cammy's very jealous of that. I personally didn't like Ashley, mostly because Ashley pulled the negative out of Kurtis. He was not who he would be. He faked being someone else when he was with Ashley. And for that reason, I wasn't really a fan of Ashley, which made it easier to like Cammy. But after we had moved here to Utah, there was just more holes and more holes. And I knew Ashley was looking and knew information. She knew the situation, and that's why I asked Ashley to help. And she declined. At that moment in time when she declined, long story short, we learned July 24th that she was indeed a catfish. Ashley decided not to give up. She declined. Long story short, we learned July 24th that she was indeed a catfish. Ashley decided not to give up. She had cycled over 40 images through the Google image search. And when one picture came back, it sent Ashley to a photographer that had taken the picture originally, which linked her to the actual person where the pictures of the actual person. I want to share really quickly that when we found out July 24th of this year, the facts, the hole that was missing, the piece of the puzzle that was missing the entire time, I saw the picture, I saw the name was a different name. I skimmed through the pictures of the real girl. I learned that this girl's mother was actually alive. Out of all the 9 people that this person decided to be, not one of them did she take personal responsibility for. I talked to this person, which was the financial guardian. I talked to her on the phone and she admitted it. I kept her on the phone for 2 hours, where I'd also told her I was going to make this video. Her name is Tammy Jakovich. She lives in Fairbanks, Alaska. Her husband is Jeff Jakovich. Their family is very well known in Fairbanks. The part that hurts the most is that we were lied to. She took my family and treated as if we were chess pieces, knowing that my daughter had fallen in love with the idea of having a sister. She kept the game going. Knowing that my son had his own slew of mental conditions that he was dealing with, she kept playing the game. For this reason, I feel like it's necessary to share this story. It's not a game. The pictures that she claimed to have picked to be her people through her story, she claims that when I was talking to her on the phone that they were just pictures. I want to say one thing about that. Not one of those people are just pictures. Not one of them. Cammy is not a real person. But the real girl that she did choose is real. She has a mother. She doesn't have a sister. She's 17. She had no idea that her profile was taken. My son had cut off the idea of them being together when we first initially talked about her being a catfish. And for that, I'm blessed. I'm grateful that he is no longer attached to the idea. I think the catfish part was done on our family more than it was done on my son. And for that, I feel horrible. Now, if I were to tell you this entire story and not have a purpose at the end, this would be a waste of a video, right? So I've decided that the best thing to do is give you a list of things that you need to watch out so this doesn't happen to you. Because there are no laws currently in the States that keep this from happening, unless they actually steal an identity with a social security number, or unless they're actually having sexual pictures going back and forth, online sex, that kind of thing. And because Kurtis was 17 when this happened in Alaska, in the state of Alaska, there was nothing wrong with it. If he was 16, it would have been another story. He turned 18 in April, so it was on that point at where there would be no legal action to take. There's still a case number because if she is going to do this again, we want to show that there's a history. The first thing to watch for when being catfished is be suspicious if someone contacts you out of the blue. Kurtis wasn't contacted out of the blue. In fact, he found her. And that's the thing, Kurtis was on a dating site. Number 2 would be don't give away personal information. I don't know how much personal information Kurtis gave. I gave enough personal information that she had deposited money into my account. Over the last 2 years, Cammy has given Kurtis thousands of dollars. She's done it through Western Union. She's put it into my account. So she definitely had personal information. She had our address where she was sending us stuff. Stick to higher quality dating sites. MeetMe.com is a free service. Don't give them money ever. This is where I would say this is our situation may be reversed. This woman claimed to have insurance money and she had sent thousands of dollars to Kurtis. And in that time, after we found out who she was and I talked to her, she claims that she's on the verge of going bankrupt because she would get loan after loan to pay Kurtis. She's bailed Kurtis out of jail. She sent money to me when she claimed to be on her way to be moving in with Kurtis. I went shopping for her. When she had paid half of Kurtis's rent, she put more money into my account, and I went and bought everything you would possibly buy for a new place. I bought it for her. Sheets, towels, pillows, bathroom stuff for the kitchen, food to fill the fridge, you name it, I bought it. With her money, not mine. So I wouldn't say that catfishes can't be flipped around. We didn't give her any money ever. It was all from her. Stay in control says don't let someone tell you how to get in contact with them to send you money or give you personal information. You control the situation. So if you want to chat on Skype or talk to them in person, you should be able to. It's not normal to people or for people to battle you on how to contact them. This was never an issue. This was totally willing on our part, and which was horrible for us to have given out. Ask for proof of who they really are, and we did that. And that's number one reason why we found out that it was a catfish situation, because she refused to give the information. It's okay to ask someone for proof of who they really are. If you've been talking to someone for a while and there is some love interest, you have every right to see their identification, see them in person, or even run their credit. Just be open to provide the same if they're willing to do this for you. Just be careful and confident that it's really them before giving your information. And that is something that obviously kept coming back to the Jakovich, Jeff and Tammy. That's where our huge red flags went off a year ago. Set expectations is number 7. Date people that you can meet. And unfortunately, that's where my son went wrong. He went on Meet Me, and he did actually, they did talk about meeting. She made it she kept dodging it, saying that he wasn't there or whatever. She claimed to be driving around in the same area. She refused to meet with me when she claimed to be right there, when in reality she was in Fairbanks, Alaska the entire time. Hire a professional. Sometimes you just need to hire a professional to verify this information for you. And that is something I wish we would have done. This would not have gone on as long as it did if we had done that. Use logic. If you meet someone online and they tell you all sorts of far-fetched stories that don't make sense or seem weird, it's most likely not true. The most far-fetched story that Cammy told was about her mother in the train accident. I researched it. The train accident was real, and that's where I kind of left it for a while. I felt like it was true. I didn't feel like it was made. At first I felt it was made up, but when I found the article, I felt like, oh wow, that's amazing, you know? And then later on, as other red flags were coming up and I did the research, that's when I learned that her mother never died. Her mother was never even there. The whole thing was made up as far as, I don't know where she picked the incident, but she did. She picked an incident and attacked someone made up to it. Use a video chat service. Make sure that you are able to see their face. Some scammers will talk to you over the phone. If you can't see their face, most scammers don't want to use anything that can help identify them. It's much harder to ID someone by their voice than by how they look. By using a video chat service, you can see the person that you're talking to, and is another defense in avoiding being catfished. And that is something that we didn't use at all. I didn't enforce it. I just assumed she was truthful, and I assumed that no one would really do that to someone, at least to us, because who are we? Number 11 is treat them the same as you would someone in real life. If you wouldn't do something with someone you've met in real life, don't do it with someone online. Things like wiring money or giving out personal information to people you don't know isn't what most people would do if they just met someone. The same logic applies to meeting someone online. Number 12, which is the last one, is trust your gut. In almost all the cases that we've worked with, the person who had some suspicion trusts your instincts. This is the first line of defense in protecting yourselves online. We had initial suspicions for sure. That was probably a suspicion I had when this girl had obsessed over my son when he was initially in the facility. When she had his picture, his half-naked picture as her profile picture for Facebook. The information that I have found is from socialcatfish.com. If you go on to drphil.com, he also has a list of things that will help you from getting yourself too far into being catfished. Like I said, there are no laws against it. If they're not doing any illegal activities while doing the catfish scenario, there currently are no laws against it. If you don't want to be catfished, then don't let yourself be catfished. For 2.5 years, we were catfished, not just my son, but our entire family. So I hope that this has helped anybody, and I pray and hope that doing this may bring awareness to the Catfish Society, if that's a thing. Just know that this is real. It really does happen. The TV show MTV Catfish, they do that, and it is real. I didn't think of anything about it until I was sent there by some friends when I, shared our suspicion, and I watched it, and I knew without a shadow of a doubt after watching it that we were in a catfish scenario. I just could not prove what we needed, and I couldn't afford to hire anybody. We did cut off all communication with Cammy. The part that was the most devastating is when it was finally over. I was able to finally attach a picture, a real person, with the picture that I had fallen in love with, that I had gained a sister or a daughter-mother relationship. I'm devastated that someone could do that to someone else. Someone is very, very ill, mentally ill for this to go on. I feel bad that I didn't catch it sooner. I could have saved a lot of us a lot of heartache. Ultimately, it's unbelievable to me how I didn't stop the red flags. I am grateful for Ashley and for her willingness to not give up, even though she had moved on and even though she knew the situation. I'm glad that she was persistent. I gave up after a little while. I blocked everything coming from Cammy and Angie. The things that were sent to me was completely foul. Some of them. When I stopped talking, the Angie person had sent me multiple offensive messages, and to learn that that person was actually Tammy Jakovich. Tammy was Cammy and Angie and Kevin and their twin babies and John and who else, and her new boyfriend Corey and his 2 friends. Actually, that's 10. And then when we went on her Facebook page, there was many other users. There was not one person that was on Cammy's profile that had met her. This is our story. Share it. Comment below. It's an unbelievable story for sure. I feel like our story needs to be told. Anyway, thank you for watching, and we'll see you next time, hopefully on our family vlog channel, The Full House Lymans. Bye.